Hey everybody, how y'all doing? Welcome, welcome everybody. It is Monday. My goodness, what a freaking weekend. So, I don't know if you've been out of the loop, but there's some crazy things going on, and Afghanistan has essentially fallen. Now, we have been trying to get out of Afghanistan for a long time, and it turns out it wasn't done correctly. And of course, Joe Biden is trying to place the blame anywhere he can but himself. So I've got a few articles to talk about what's going on. Some people are pissed off. People are dying. It's a crazy situation. Now, I want to preface this with I'm still learning about the history of politics in America. I feel like I've been more focused on current events and things of that nature, and I wasn't paying attention in the early aughts and the late aughts, the teens. I really just started paying attention recently. Over the past year, I've been very politically aware and observant. But when it comes to foreign policy, especially decades worth of foreign policy, I'm still catching up. So I don't have as much, of a backlog of knowledge about what's going on with this. I'm just getting what I'm seeing from the people that I follow and the articles that I've been reading about it. But it all points to Biden did a terrible job. All right. I for one, am against being the world police. I don't want to be the world police. I don't want to be the one, forcing other countries to change or whatever it is because we think they're not doing it correctly, when in reality it's because they have oil or because they have whatever it is, whatever you want to believe. But this is a mess. Okay. And honestly, the reason it's as bad as it is because Biden. I mean, he's trying to place blame on Trump, of course. That's not really surprising. But the fact remains, and he even said this, the buck stops with me, I'm the president. But started by saying, I'm referencing him speaking today. He came out and spoke. And he started by saying, it's not my fault, it's this person's fault, Trump's fault, it's this person's fault, but the buck stops with me. I won't pass it on to another president. But he's not taking blame for anything. None of it's his fault, but the buck stops with him. It's a hot mess. It's a hot mess, to say the least. And it goes in line perfectly with this thread that I'm going to read to you guys. So I found this thread on Twitter a week ago, and I retweeted it actually a couple times because I thought it was so perfect, summing up the reason why a lot of people have become red-pilled over the past couple years. And it just sums it up perfectly, and the person actually put it in an article form. So I actually have the whole thing in article form to just read to you. And I call it the red-pilled thread, because it really sums it up perfect. People were getting lied to and realizing it, and they're sick of it, and it's just kind of fitting. All right, and then I'm going to talk about something other than politics. I gotta throw something in there that's in the mix, and it's 3 volcanoes are going off in Alaska. It's pretty crazy, and I've actually been to Alaska, relatively close to that area. Beautiful, beautiful state. But anyway, all right. So let's talk about Afghanistan. So I mean, we've been in Afghanistan for 20 years. Is it 20 years or is it just under 20 years because we went in after 9/11? I'm actually not even too sure. I was a teenager. I was 17. Yeah, I was 17 when the Twin Towers got hit and Building 7 fell as well. And, that's a whole nother subject. But we went in Afghanistan to fight bin Laden and all this stuff. And, we've been there ever since. Some people say we should never have been there. Some people say We should have been gone from there for a long time. But one thing is certain. It's Biden's fault that this is going on the way it's happening now. This is from CNN. That's right. CNN posted this. Biden deserves blame for the debacle in Afghanistan. And it kind of sums up everything that happens. A group of religious warriors riding on captured American military vehicles vanquish a U.S.-trained military, which relinquishes much of its power without a fight. Sounds familiar? That's what happened in Iraq after the U.S. withdrawal of troops from the country at the end of 2011. Within 3 years, an army of ISIS fighters was only a few miles from the gates of Baghdad and have taken many of significant cities in Iraq. It was then Vice President Joe Biden who had negotiated the Obama administration's drawdown from Iraq. In 2014, after ISIS began ethnic cleansing in Iraq and murdering American journalists and aid workers, then President Obama reversed that decision and sent additional military support, upping the troop present to 2,900. Now, Biden is presiding over a debacle entirely of his own making in Afghanistan, and one that has unfolded more swiftly than even the most dire prognostications. Since Biden announced a total U.S. withdrawal in April, the Taliban have taken over more than 1/3 of the 34 provincial capitals in Afghanistan, and now they control more than half of the country's some 400 districts. The Taliban have also seized control of much of northern Afghanistan, far from their traditional strongholds in the south and east of the country, demonstrating a well-thought-out military strategy. In fact, the Taliban now control the key cities of Herat and Ghazni, the latter of which is less than 100 miles from Kabul and is located on the most important road in the country, the Kabul to Kandahar Highway. The U.S. State Department is urging all U.S. citizens to leave the country immediately, and the Pentagon announced it will send an additional 3,000 troops to assist in U.S. diplomats and departures and evacuations. Of course, I have found out that they have upped it. According to Joseph Biden today, they have upped that number to 6,000 troops. So they're actually upping the number to 6,000 troops. And Biden actually said, I believe it was a week ago, maybe it was last May. I'm not sure exactly when this statement was. But he said that there was 300,000 Afghani troops that they had trained and outfitted that basically sold them weapons. And I'm going to show you a video of these soldiers that Biden said were fit to take on the Taliban. This is embarrassing. You can see they're not even really... Look, see, this is what pisses me off, okay? What angers me about this? The guy trying to teach him how to do jumping jacks is laughing at him. The other guy's laughing. He's laughing. If someone's not doing what you're asking them to do in a military situation, you smack them upside the head and you say, no, do exactly what I do. Stop laughing. This isn't a joking matter. Do what I'm telling you to do. It's a jumping jack. Up, down, up, down. They're not doing it. They're not paying attention. They don't care. These are the troops that Joe Biden has claimed were well-trained, ready to handle the Taliban. 300,000 of them, facing what he was saying was 75,000 Taliban. Okay, well, the Taliban were using military tactics. They knew exactly what they were doing. This was their whole life, training to take out these people who didn't care at all. The American military was there. They'll handle it. Anyway, meanwhile, the U.S. government is also considering moving its embassy to Kabul airport. Apparently, the Biden administration doesn't want a replay of the iconic images of the hasty evacuation of the U.S. Embassy in Saigon in 1975. In fact, Joseph Biden himself came out and said, "We will not have the same situation as before in Saigon." Cue this meme going around. It's really, is it a meme or is it just accurate pictures? Here is the statement. It's from 7/8/21. The Taliban is not the North Vietnamese army. They're not remotely comparable in terms of capability. There's going to be no circumstance for you to see people being lifted off the roof of an embassy in the United States from Afghanistan. This is not at all comparable. Here's a picture of Saigon. Here's a picture of Kabul. Newsflash, Joseph Biden. It's the same situation. In fact, they abandon it. They've been telling American citizens that are still in Afghanistan to shelter in place. And you know what? Don't call anybody. Fill out this form online and we'll get back to you. No joke, that's how they have to do it. If you're an American citizen stuck in Afghanistan right now, you have to go online and fill out a form and hope they get back to you in time. Absolutely ridiculous. Here's a statement from President Trump. First, Joe Biden surrendered to COVID and it has come roaring back. That is a whole different subject. I don't know if I agree with him there. Then he surrendered to the Taliban, who has quickly overtaken Afghanistan and destroyed confidence in American power and influence. I'm going to show you a tweet from a Chinese... You know what? I'm going to show you right now, because why not? This is from a China state-affiliated media. Once a cross-straits war breaks out, while the mainland squeezes the island with forces, the U.S. would have to have a much greater determination than it had for Afghanistan, Syria, and Vietnam if it wants to interfere. Not if. They don't say if. They say once. China's basically saying to Vietnam, we're going to come for you, and guess what? America's weak. Look at what their president did in Afghanistan. He showed absolute weakness. Even though he's standing by his decision to withdraw all of his troops in the middle of the night, not even help the American citizens, not following through with Trump's actual plan. They're basically telling Vietnam, we're coming for you. And there's nothing you could do about it. And guess what? America's not going to help you. That's a frightening premise. Because what are we going to do then, huh? What, you think Joe Biden's going to be like, stop, China? God, that's so sad how true it is. I mean, I laugh and I feel bad laughing because that's frightening. I feel for Vietnam. I'm sorry, not Vietnam. I got Vietnam in the brain, but I'm talking about Taiwan. Excuse me. I'm talking about Taiwan. Yes, Taiwan, chat. I know, right. Yeah. No, the reason I have Vietnam on the brain is because freaking from this meme. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm talking about Taiwan, of course, because that's across the way. Thank you, everybody. Yes, and for those wondering, Taiwan is a country. Hi, China. You love me or you hate me? Yeah, they hate me. I don't care. It's embarrassing for the president to make this kind of... I mean, he pleaded with the Taliban. Please don't go at the U.S. Embassy. You just want to get our stuff out. What did you think they were going to do? What did you think they were going to do? Huh? No, they're going to threaten us now. They don't care. Here's Trump slams Biden for not following the plan he left on Afghanistan. He ran out of Afghanistan instead of following our plan our administration left for him. A plan that protected our people and our property and ensured the Taliban would never dream of taking our embassy or providing a base for new attacks against America. The withdrawal would be guided by facts on the ground, Trump said in a statement. He continues, after I took out ISIS, I established a credible deterrent. That deterrent is now gone. The Taliban is no longer have fear or respect for America or America's power. I mean, it's true. They don't care. They don't respect us at all. This is embarrassing. Here's CNN. Oh my gosh. Here's CNN. I'm not going to play the clip because they'll probably force me to take it down or whatever. But this woman right here, she's outside of the U.S. Embassy in Kabul. They're chanting death to America, and she goes, but they seem friendly at the same time. It's so bizarre. Oh, it's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. A mostly fiery protest. A peaceful but fiery protest. Yeah, it's the same energy from CNN. What is going on with these people? They're shouting death to America. You are lucky. This woman is lucky that they don't behead her. I'm not joking. This is... What is she doing there? She's lucky to be alive. I would not be surprised if some crazy story comes out and she's in trouble and she gets murked off because being in that situation, it's crazy. It's nuts. Look at this. America is on the world stage as an embarrassment. This is a Daily Mail head story. The war on terror has ended as it began on 9/11. Bodies falling from the sky and America humiliated. And Biden claims it's Afghans' own fault. Straight up, bodies are flying. People are trying to get out of here. Look at this. I'm not going to show this because it's kind of hard to watch. Photos and videos appear to show Afghans trying to flee the Taliban falling out of planes as they leave the Kabul airport. Look at this. They're grabbing onto military vehicles trying to leave. It is frightening. They have fallen to their deaths after clinging to C-17 jets as they took off from Kabul airport in an attempt to flee the Taliban in Afghanistan, local media reported. I mean, there's videos all over the place, and you can see bodies falling. And there's even local news reporters going to people's homes where they're like, a body landed on my roof. You know, it was loud, and it's terrible. It scared us all. And these people are afraid of their lives. If you lived in Afghanistan and you wanted American democracy, you're a target now. Because these Taliban, they're going to go kill all these people. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to let this thought of democracy? And what's even scarier is China's cozying up with them. China's like, yeah, whatever. You're not going to come at us. We'll give you money. Let us mine in your country. Because guess what? There's a bunch of mines there. There's a bunch of iron, I think copper mines. Yeah, and China's all about taking all of the natural resources on the entire planet because they want control. It is absolutely ridiculous. So all of this is going on, and this is the craziest thing. Joe Biden's on vacation. No joke, dude's on vacation. Jen Psaki, I'm out of the office for the full week. They're trying to pitch this off to someone else. They are just trying to be like, yeah, let someone else deal with this. It is absolutely ridiculous. So this is kind of funny how they put this. It says, returning from vacation, Biden plays the blame game as Afghanistan falls. I mean, I'm fairly certain he came out of vacation and said, he was talking for like 15 minutes. I listened to it. It was like, it's so frustrating listening to Democrats speak because half the time I'm like, that's not true. That's also not true. That's based on a lie. Stop. Oh, they're like reiterating lies from the mainstream media. It's like, it's so obvious that they work together. And it plays true to this red pill thread I'm going to read it into in a little bit. But listen, this is basically breaks down what he said. Comes back from vacation, gives some remarks, deflected blame surrounding the Afghanistan debacle, and asserted his administration had every contingency in place in the event Kabul fell quickly. Yeah, right. The situation in Afghanistan rapidly deteriorated amid the U.S. withdrawal process, with the Taliban quickly taking over major cities throughout the country The U.S. announced it was sending thousands of troops back into Afghanistan to help the evacuation process throughout the weekend after the Taliban took over in just more than 1 week. The president, echoing talking points issued by the White House to Democratic lawmakers prior to Biden's remarks, appeared to place the blame on former President Donald Trump's negotiations with the Taliban, which he didn't follow through on. They were supposed to meet multiple times. As they slowly withdrew troops, they had contingencies that they weren't allowed to attack us. They weren't allowed to take over the embassy. They had to. There was conditions that they had to allow women and children to continue going to school, because the Taliban don't want women to go to school past the age of 12 or 10, I believe. It's kind of a backwards country. Let's see here. The president, I already read that. Yeah, he returned to the White House on short notice, cutting his August vacation short to address the nation amid backlash over his handling of the situation. When I came into office, I inherited a deal that President Trump negotiated with the Taliban. Under his agreement, the U.S. forces would be out of Afghanistan by May 1st, 2021, a few months after I took office. The U.S. forces had drawn down to roughly 15,500 American forces to 2,500 troops in the country. The Taliban was at its strongest militarily since 2001. The choice I had to make as your president was either follow through on an agreement or be prepared to go back to fighting the Taliban in the middle of the spring fighting season. You know, what do you think? Don't you think we're going to have to go back to fight these guys again now? I don't think, wow, man, how do I even get this? So, number one, I don't think the powers that be ever wanted this war to stop, okay? I think that they wanted this to be as bad as it is right now, so we have an enemy to face that isn't China and isn't the Democrats. I'm not joking. I think they want this. Okay, obviously this is just my opinion on the matter, but I think this is exactly what they wanted. Oh man, they're taking over. Whoa, we have to fight them now that they're completely armed. Hey, Joe Biden, remember those 300,000 troops you were telling us that were so well armed that he even said in his statement that they paid their salaries. So wait, we paid their salaries? Yes, we, the American taxpayer, paid the salaries of these 300,000 troops that didn't even care about their job. They didn't even learn how to do jumping jacks. According to this video, someone's like, "Oh, that's a few years old." And it's like, who cares how old that video is? That shows how much these Afghan troops, not the Taliban, the Afghan troops, right, cared about their jobs. It was a big joke to them. All right? Now we have an enemy. America's like, perfect. We have an enemy to fight. Look, everybody, we have to join together to fight this common enemy, the Taliban. They attacked us once, they'll attack us again. Yeah, well, they're using the weapons that we brought over there that they now have. If we had slowly withdrawn, Joseph Biden, if we slowly withdrew according to Trump's plan, we would have taken our stuff with us. Instead, we left in the middle of the night, leaving them. They've got helicopters now. They've got jets now. They've got all sorts of weapons. There's so many different pictures of them showing all these stockpiles of guns, carrying what seems to be top quality M16 rifles, right? Good quality guns. Where are they getting these guns? Huh? Those look American made to me. Well, someone in chat just said they have drones now. Yes, exactly. What else did we leave there that we aren't being told, that we aren't being shown on the internet? What else do they have? They've got their enemy. I think that's what they wanted. And China's like, America looks so weak. This is wonderful. Straight up. You know that's what China's thinking. Or who else are we enemies with on this planet, right? We look like fools, and it is embarrassing. And President Biden, it's your fault. You did this. You're the president. The buck stops with you, as you said it yourself. The buck stops with you. Well, guess what? You're president. I don't care what you say about former president, whatever. He's like, I don't want to pass it on to the next president. All right, well, good. Sure. I don't want to be the world police. But if we're going to do it, we should do it properly. Take out the jets. Take our helicopters. Take back all of our equipment. Not just leave in the middle of the night. Months ago. It's insane. I'm not even going to read the rest of his statement because he embarrasses me. And he should embarrass you. I'm sure I'm not alone here. The scenes from this place, it's absolutely bonkers. All right, I'm done talking about this. I mean, I honestly, the more I read about it, the more I'm realizing I don't know much about this foreign policy. Like, I start delving into stuff and I'm like, man, to really get into like the full scope of like what's happening in Afghanistan, I got to go all the way back to beginning. And it would take a lot longer than just a segment on my show. But I think I got my point across. We got the enemy that they want. Hey, look, we got an enemy to fight. You're going to have to just fall in line and accept the things that are going on because we got something bigger to deal with. It's always something. And you know what? It falls perfectly with this next segment. Now, the name of this article is Why Don't They Believe Us? All right. And it is basically this is something that's written to me. It's about me. It's probably about you as well. It's about a lot of people. And when you read this or when you hear about this, you're going to understand and it's going to make sense. And the more you listen, the more it's going to make sense. And hopefully, when this segment comes out, you can send it to people. Hey, you want to know why I don't believe the Democrats anymore? Why I don't think elections are real anymore? Why I have hesitancy to take a certain something into my arm? Here, listen to this guy explain. This is from Konstantin Kisin. All right, and this is really, really well made. Imagine you're a normal person. The year is 2016. Rightly or wrongly, you believe most of what you see in the media. You believe polls are broadly reflective of public opinion. You believe doctors and scientists are trustworthy and independent. You're a decent, reasonable person who follows the rules and trusts the authorities. Imagine your shock then when Brexit, which you were assured couldn't happen because it was fringe movement led by racists, for racist happens. The polls, which widely predicted it wouldn't happen, were wrong. The experts and pundits who told you day after day that it wouldn't happen also were wrong. Oh well, you say, these things happen. Imagine soon after Brexit, Donald Trump is running for president. You are told by the most trustworthy media outlets that he's going to lose. Some experts say his opponent has a 99% chance of winning. Imagine waking up the morning after the election to discover that the pollsters, experts, and politicians that you trusted were wrong again. Now, the racist monster who you were told would never get near the White House is the leader of the free world. How did this happen, you ask yourself? How could everyone I rely on for good information be so wrong? It was the Russians, they tell you. The Russians did Brexit. They got Trump elected too. Imagine that for the next 3 years, day after day, the media and politicians you still trust keep you up to date on this story of Trump's collusion with Russia. They tell you the how, when, where, and why, the dossiers, the whistleblowers, the peeing prostitutes. Imagine your desperation for things to somehow make sense again. Here comes the Mueller report. Hard evidence of foreign meddling in Brexit and 2016 election is coming to set the world right again. Imagine your shock then when you discover that Brexit had little to do with foreign meddling, and Robert Mueller has very little to report about Trump and the Russians. The collusion story, which dominated your news intake for the better part of 3 years, slowly dies down. Then, It's gone. No one talks about it anymore. Imagine that, bit by bit, you're starting to feel that the events you were told would not and could not happen, not only happened, could not happen, not only happened, but happened without some sort of malign interference. Instead, millions of your fellow citizens simply voted for them. In the American case, it turns out many of your fellow citizens who simply voted for Trump come from the states that have been devastated by an opioid epidemic enabled by a corrupt system of incentives involving the Food and Drug Administration, doctors, and Big Pharma. You might want to take note of this. It'll come up again later. Again, you ask, how could this happen? And again, the media outlets and political representatives you've always trusted has an answer. Racism. Your country is racist, they tell you. And if you're white, this may seem strange to you. Other than a handful of idiots, you've never met a racist. If you're an ethnic minority immigrant like me, this seems even stranger. Why would people in one of the most welcoming, tolerant countries in the world want to convince themselves their country is racist when it's so obviously not? But the evidence is right there on your TV screen. Imagine your horror as a famous, beloved gay African-American actor is assaulted by a MAGA hat-wearing thugs who racially abuse him and put a noose around his neck. In primetime interview, he cries while talking about it. Imagine your outrage as you see news reports of a bunch of MAGA hat-wearing kids from a religious school contemptuously confront a Native American elder. Professional adult commentators on TV tell you the kid has a punchable face, and while you abhor violence, it's hard to disagree. Imagine for the days you watch coverage of these events with expert after expert, pundit after pundit, sharing and fueling your outrage. Maybe your country really is racist. Maybe you're racist. Were you always just blind? Imagine that soon after, however, the Jussie Smollett story turns out to be an attention-seeking hoax. He made it all up. Imagine you also quickly discover that the Native American elder was the one who confronted the kids, and not the other way around. If this was such a racist country, you ask yourself, why would they need to make up stories of racism? As you ponder this, you remember that for years now, you've been expected to go along with the other more elaborate make-believe stories. You're expected to understand that gender is not as binary as school. Your eyes, your own experience have led you to believe. Whatever you've learned about biology growing up is not only wrong, it's pathological and harmful. According to the American Psychological Association, you no longer know how many genders you're expected to be able to recognize. You do know that asking questions is dangerous. Imagine that you still want to believe the experts and the commentators, but now that requires you to believe your country is racist, that men are bad, and that gender is a social construct, which is an idea you still don't really understand. It is at this point that a pandemic breaks out in China. You are initially unconcerned. But as terrifying scenes increasingly emerge from Italy and other countries closer to home, it is clear that something big is happening. You watch nervously as politicians give press conference after press conference, flanked by experts, and explain the situation. President Trump shuts down travel to the United States from China. He has been widely condemned as a racist repeatedly in the past, and the same explanation is given this time. It's not just Americans who tell you that Trump is racist for calling a virus that emerged in China a Chinese virus. In response, the mayor of Florence advises Italian citizens to fight Trump's anti-Chinese bigotry by hugging a Chinese person. Shortly after, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, one of the most respected and powerful Democrats in the country, visits Chinatown in San Francisco to explain that there's no reason tourists or locals should be staying away from the area because of a coronavirus concerns. Quote, "Thank God there are some sensible, non-racist people who aren't overreacting," end quote. You say to yourself, imagining Imagine watching as Trump doubles down on his racism by claiming the virus may have come from a lab in Wuhan. Nonsense, you think. You're more concerned about how best to protect yourself and your family from this deadly disease than with its origins at this point anyway. You consider buying surgical masks or using homemade ones. You've seen visitors and tourists from Asian countries wear them, and they've been through things like this before, so maybe it's best to follow their lead. But the country's chief medical experts tell you not to wear masks and to focus on washing your hands instead. As lockdowns are introduced around the world, you diligently follow all the rules. You stay at home, you only go out once, and live off savings or government grants. You do your best to keep your hands clean, not to touch other surface that other people touch. Some political representatives make the solemn decision to shut down beaches, parks, and playgrounds, encouraging everyone to stay indoors. You are proud to be doing your part. Thanks to you and millions of your fellow citizens, the first wave of the pandemic overwhelms certain hot spots, but it does not devastate the healthcare system at a national level. While thousands die, sadly, you've helped to protect those around you. Imagine your confusion as the same people who spent 3 months telling you you should not only that masks don't work, but that there are several reasons you shouldn't wear or purchase them, suddenly introduce mask mandates. We're following the science, they tell you. This seems to make little sense, but a pandemic with no time for questions. And who knows, maybe our understanding of the science evolved. As you cautiously go to the supermarket, you notice that masks have made people less likely to socially distance. You remember reading somewhere that bicycle helmets work similarly. They give the wearer more confidence. End result is often more accidents and injuries, not fewer. Silly people, you say to yourself, if only they would follow the experts. You turn on your TV and learn that shoppers at your local supermarket aren't the only ones who have been ignoring the rules. Nancy Pelosi arranged for a salon shut down by government decree to open privately for her, then publicly blamed the business owner for violating the lockdown. Californian Governor Gavin Newsom is seen eating dinner at one of the most expensive restaurants in America with a large group of unmasked people indoors. A lobbyist, by the way. In the UK, Neil Ferguson, the epidemiologist, whose projections were used on the basis for lockdowns, appears to have broken his own rules to get some action with his married lover. Prime Minister Boris Johnson's chief advisor, Dominic Cummings, drove halfway across the country to ensure he had a better place to isolate. The journalists who berate him for this are later found to have attended an unmasked indoor birthday party in breaches of the rules. The lockdowns continue. Then a man is killed in Minneapolis by a police officer, arresting him for a petty crime. The man is African American. The officer is white. The arrest and murder are captured on video, which quickly goes viral around the world. Imagine your horror as you watch an officer of the law kneel on another man's neck until he passes out and later dies. This is disgusting, you say to yourself. I hope they throw the book at him. Overnight, a huge campaign for racial justice springs up around the world. No one explains what racism had to do with the incident, but they don't need to know, or they don't need to. As you know by now, the West is racist, America is racist, and police are racist. Therefore, anytime a crime has a white perpetrator and an African American victim, there is only one possible motive. The fact that an identical incident led to the death of a white man named Tony Timpa in Dallas in August of 2016 is never mentioned for context. While the lockdown's rules remained in place, the protests against injustice spill out into public spaces. Tens of thousands of people crowd into the streets of major cities. Few of them wear masks, and social distancing is non-existent. Clashes with police ensue, and in the United States, protesters loot stores, destroy businesses, attack residents, start fires. A retired African-American police officer of from St. Louis named David Dorn is among dozens of people who are murdered in the chaos. The media describes these events as mostly peaceful protests, as broadcast reporters stand in front of burning buildings. After months of harsh restrictions, the media and political class offer no criticism of the protests that violate every element of lockdown policy. After months of telling you to stay at home to avoid spreading COVID, doctors explain that rather than being a potential form of super spreading, protest is a profound public health intervention. Big tech companies go into overdrive to stop the spread of what they call disinformation. Alternative points of view regarding the efficacy of masks and lockdowns, as well as the origin of the virus itself, are increasingly blocked, flagged, and censored. Attempts to discuss the negative impacts of lockdowns on health and mental well-being, especially that of your children barred from going to school, are suppressed. As the year runs on, with a pivotal U.S. election looming, Trump promises a huge push to develop a vaccine. Then, Senator Kamala Harris, running for vice president, says that if Trump advises people to take a vaccine, she wouldn't take it. On the eve of the election, a major media outlet releases a damaging report about Hunter Biden, a son of presidential candidate Joe Biden. The story alleges corruption that may implicate his father, as well as drug use, paying for prostitutes, and more, way more. Twitter and other social media platforms immediately prevent the story from being shared. The media lines up commentators to claim the story was yet again Russian disinformation. Once Hunter's father wins the election, it becomes clear that several key elements of the story are likely accurate, and the laptop from which the information was recovered is not in fact a Russian decoy, but Hunter Biden's laptop. Meanwhile, in the UK, the publicly available number of COVID patients and deaths nationwide turns out to have been inaccurate. And sometime, any British citizen who died at any point for any reason after having been tested positive for COVID was counting as dying from COVID, even if it was from a car crash. The official figure is later revised again. The number of people who have been in hospital because of COVID also turned out to be inaccurate. And now that a bigot is no longer the president of the United States, closing national borders to visitors from other countries is no longer considered xenophobic. In fact, it is widely advocated in the media. Likewise, it is no longer considered racist to detain people at the border, to put them in holding cells, to deport them, or to simply turn them away. The supposedly racist conspiracy theory that the virus came from a lab in Wuhan is now also open for discussion. It even looks like the most credible explanation for the origin of the virus. Imagine your horror as you learn that the reason thousands of people died from the first wave of the pandemic was that elderly patients with COVID were allowed and sometimes compelled to be released back into her nursing homes or ordered. In fact, it was a personal decision by then New York, well, I guess he's still governor now, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, brother of CNN anchor Chris Cuomo. Governor Cuomo's publisher later suspends a promotion of the book he wrote in the meantime. It's about his leadership during the pandemic. I've done a report on this. Cuomo ordered people and said to these nursing homes, you're not allowed to turn these people away. They had to go back. They were forced in there. Sorry, that part singes me. Meanwhile, Texas and Florida, which largely remained open and avoided draconian lockdowns, seem to have made out okay. Kids have been going to school, businesses have stayed open. You look at COVID death rates by state, and neither Florida nor Texas cracks the top half. It is at this point that vaccines become the main focus of the government policy and media commentary. The same people who told you Brexit would never happen, that Trump would never win, and that when he did, it was because of Russian collusion, and also because of racism, that you must follow lockdowns. Well, they don't. The masks don't work. The masks do work. The social justice protests during the pandemic lockdowns are a form of health intervention. that ransacking African American communities in the name of fighting racism is a mostly peaceful form of protest, that poor and underserved children locked out of shuttered schools are still learning, that Jussie Smollett was a victim of a hate crime, that men are toxic, that there is an infinite number of genders, that COVID couldn't have come from a lab until maybe it did, that closing borders is racist until maybe it isn't, that you shouldn't take Trump's vaccine, that you must take the vaccine developed during the Trump administration, that Andrew Cuomo is a great leader, that Andrew Cuomo is a granny killer, that the number of COVID deaths is one thing, then another, are the same people telling you now that the vaccine is safe, that you must take it, that if you don't, you will be a second-class citizen. Do you understand vaccine hesitancy now? Now, follow your doctor's advice. Your doctor's advice, not politicians, not actors. Do what your doctor tells you is best for you and what you think is best for you. I am not a doctor. I am not advocating for you to do anything along those lines. I have to say that because YouTube has given me strike on every single time I've ever talked about this vaccine at all. But I think that this was so important for people to know and see a perspective on all these different things, these flip-flops, these rules for you, but not for me. I mean, it sums it up perfectly. I know it was a lot of information, but it had to be said. I needed to talk about it. I wanted this to be a segment so people can share it. I want more people to know about this thread, all right? To truly understand the mind of the people that don't trust the government. Maybe once they did, but they don't anymore. All right. I'm done with that. I need a little glass of water after that one. My goodness. Yeah, I had to have a little bit of water after that. My goodness. Excuse me. All right. So, I mean, that's a crazy article. We just had 1776 viewers currently. That was cool to see. I love it when that happens. Thanks for joining, guys. I appreciate you all being there. It's pretty cool. We're at 1776 current viewers right now. Thanks for tuning in, guys. It's very patriotic of you all to have this number. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please smash for me. And you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. Thank you guys so much. Let's talk about volcanoes. Let's talk about volcanoes. I haven't been to a volcano. Nisha's been to a volcano before. And I think it was Borneo in the South Pacific. I would love to go to a volcano. There was a bunch of volcanoes going off in Greenland? Iceland. Excuse me. But now we have 3 volcanoes going off right now simultaneously. 3 volcanoes are erupting simultaneously along Alaska's Ring of Fire, with geological experts monitoring their increasing strength. Check this story out. Pavlov, Great Sitkin, and Semiso-Puchnoi, I can't do that last one. Volcanoes all remain under an orange threat level Friday, signaling that eruptions are underway and minor ash emissions have been detected. They sit along the remote Aleutian Islands, known as the Ring of Fire, so called because of the number of volcanoes that sit along a deep oceanic belt running under the islands. So far, none of the small communities near the volcanoes have been affected. Chris Way-Thomas, a geologist with the Alaska Volcano Observatory, said on Thursday. Webcams on Thursday clearly showed an episodic low-level ash emissions from Pavlov, the volcano raising the most red flags out of the 3, prompting the observatory to raise the volcano's threat level from yellow, or exhibiting signs of unrest, to orange, my favorite color. The change of color signal was prompted by ash clouds, which were seen rising just above Pavlov's volcano, 8,261 feet summit, drifting about 6 miles, or 9.7 kilometers, to the south before dissipating. Here is an incredible image of that. This is the Pavlov volcano here, spewing ash. This is from 2016. He added that Pavlov is a very sneaky volcano due to its peak open system volcano, meaning that its magmatic plumbing system is open and magmas can move to the surface really fast, and it can start erupting almost with no warning. The nearest community to the volcano is Cold Bay, about 35 miles southwest of Pavlov, one of Alaska's most active volcanoes in the Aleutian Islands arc of active and dormant volcanoes. Pavlov is a snow and ice-covered stratovolcano in the southwestern end of the Alaskan Peninsula, nearly 600 miles southwest of Anchorage. Just like Mount Vesuvius, Pavlov is a peak open system volcano, which means that magma can move to the surface, and here it is right here. This is a picture of it. The volcano is approximately 7 kilometers in diameter. I guess that would be about 5.2 miles if I had to just make a rough estimate, and has active vents in the north and east sides close to the summit. Not too far away is another volcano, Pavlov's sister. The name of Pavlov comes from Russian, translating to Paul or Saint Paul. This volcano name is first published as Pavlovskoy Volcan, like Captain Lutke, a German-Russian navigator in 1836. Pavlov last erupted in 2016, dropping some ash on another community near Nelson Lagoon. Another volcano set on orange alert by an observatory on Thursday also received reports from people in the community of Adak of a lava fountain at the summit. Is the Great Sitkin volcano. The reports were later confirmed by webcam. And here it is here, the eruption plumes from the Great Sitkin volcano. This is from August 4th. And then this is another shot from August 5th of the Sitkin. The fact that they just happened to walk outside and see it was really great, Wade Thomas said. He said if activity increases, Adak could get ashfall from Great Sitkin, located on an island just 27 miles away. The lava fountain is kind of unusual for Great Sitkin, but it's been fairly passive at this point, he said. Great Sitkin, a stratovolcano, is about 1,150 miles southwest of Anchorage, so really far out there. Semi-Sopochnoi volcano, about 150 miles away, on an uninhabited island at the western end of the Aleutian Islands, has been erupting intermittently, and on Wednesday produced an ash cloud that went up about 10,000 feet into the air. And here it is. Semi-Pochnoi. That's not that bad, right? Semi-Sopochnoi. There we go. This is a picture of it from a distance. This is, what is this one? The observatory on Thursday received reports from people in the community of Adak. Pictured. Okay, so this is Adak here. And this is the Great Sitkin in the background there. Here is an image of the peninsula that Andrew Lagoon, so this was receiving ash from the sky. The volcanic islands that make up the so-called Aleutian Arc are part of a horseshoe-shaped zone that can be traced along the rim of the Pacific Ocean, where many of the world's earthquakes and volcanic eruptions occur. This region, known as the Pacific Ring of Fire, is seismically and volcanically active because it's located at the boundaries of several tectonic plates that continually collide and mash together. While Pavlov, Great Sitkin, and Semi-Sopochnoi are in remote parts of the Aleutian Islands, they can produce ash clouds that are hazardous for air travel. It's been at least 7 years since all three erupted simultaneously in Alaska, and the recent unrest has kept monitoring campaigns lively in the Alaskan Volcano Observatory. It can get going without much warning, Wade Thomas concluded. And here it is. This is basically the entire strip of the Aleutian. I think these are the Aleutian Islands down here. And then in figure 11, well, this is the whole Ring of Fire. I think they're down here, which is these islands. Then there's another great image here that shows this is basically Canada and then the US. and this doesn't really have much to talk about. It's a 3D block diagram across North America showing a mantle tomography image reveals the slab unfolding method used to flatten the Farallon tectonic plate. By doing so, Fuston and Wu were able to locate the lost resurrection plate near Alaskan's Ring of Fire. Really interesting. So they don't really explain that part too well, but it is kind of cool to think about it. Thank you guys for tuning in. How you guys doing tonight? I hope you all are doing well. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I had a fantastic weekend. I gotta say, I love being a homeowner. Being a homeowner is absolutely amazing. I love my house. I love my property. I built you know what? Can I show you guys? So I have these old slabs on my property. Well, let me just pull up a picture on my phone. I didn't post it anywhere, so I'm going to show you guys this picture live. I built these old stones. Can you guys see that? Kinda, right? So these stones right there, I dragged from I can't pick them up. I had to Easter Island face these guys slowly but surely over to the spot by my river. Now I've posted the spot in the river. And I love standing on this huge rock looking out onto my river. But now I put these old stones there and basically made a bench. And I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud of this bench that I made. It's but I love it. I love it. Yeah. Wait till something breaks. Yeah, I don't mind because my father, shout out to my dad. Dad, I love you very much. My dad taught me so much. He taught me he taught me plumbing, he taught me carpentry, he taught me electric, he taught me heating and air conditioning. I can basically fix anything. I'm not joking. If I have the right tools, because that's really the key. If you have the right tools, you can fix it. Of course, you got to know how to use the tools. Shout out to my dad because he taught me how to use the tools. So I love fixing stuff, especially now that it's my house. I put those stones there and I was looking at them. And I'm like, those are going to be here forever. For the rest of my life anyway. I mean, I love this house. I could live here till I die, for sure. And, my kids are going to sit on those stones, you know? There was something so, solid about them, you know? Very, you know, I just created something that I'm going to enjoy for years and years and years. You know, I'm not renting this place. I don't know. I got this. There was, a wash that came over me, it's mine. It's mine. It's pretty amazing. Diana said, shout out to Adam's dad. Yeah, right? Gotta love my dad. Love my dad. All right, let's get into some super chats. Thank you guys all for tuning in. I really do appreciate you very much so. If you guys could go follow me over on Odyssey, just in case something happens to my YouTube. Who knows? Okay, that is loading. Anyway, also go follow me over on Crigler Coffee. We are so close. Look at this. We are 9 followers away from 1,000 followers. Awesome. Oh, actually haven't seen this. In a dark roast we find ourselves, and a little more knowledge lights our way. May the brew be with you, the Polish pony says. I love it. Please go follow me over there. That's fantastic if you do. Also, find me on Odyssey. All of my videos are uploaded here, so if you don't want to watch the clips, you can go watch them over on Odyssey. Totally fine for me, if you would like. Also, check out my coffee, because you know I got that delicious coffee. You know I got that coffee. I love it. Oh, and I put up something behind me. Did you guys notice? Nishra's like, you should really you want me to put a plant? And I'm like, meh, you know what? I don't care. Whatever. It's all good. Robert Wild says, thanks for all you do for us, Adam. Diana Francisco is a good friend. She helps her mom by herself. Can we all give her a little love? Be blessed, everyone. Heart. Robert Wiles, thank you so much. Look at this. This is my chat. My chat. Super chatting to give other people in my chat a good positive vibes. I love it so much. Thank you guys so much. Sexy Goldfish says, what up, Adam? Roll the die. Oh, I got myself a die. Woohoo! You guys know the deal. The dice has been rolled. Good luck and have fun. I will be watching out for those numbers. Let's see. Mark Redacted Shaw says 20 years of training and rebuilding for nothing. It seems what a waste of time, money, and lives. I say let China have a go. What a total failure. It is embarrassing, right? It is embarrassing. Rob Shaw says, Adam, you have more experience in the Middle Eastern politics than the U.S. government, and that's an understatement. Another destabilized region. Congrats. I know. Sexy Goldfish? No way. No way. Sexy Goldfish not only super chatted for me to roll the die, but guessed the number correctly. Sexy Goldfish, it is number 7. Woo! That is awesome. You love to see it. Congratulations. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I like it. I dig it. I like it a lot. So that's very cool. Congratulations. Don't spend it all in the same place, but very exciting. Mr. Knox says, the fact people still trying to find a way to blame the mess on Trump. I know. It's absolutely ridiculous. Nathan says, Biden left billions of dollars of military equipment in Afghan for the Taliban to use. Why not push the date back to remove these items? Great haircut, by the way. Well, thank you very much. I do really love this haircut. I seriously, I don't regret cutting my hair off at all. I am like this feels so good. Oh man, I love it. I was thinking about getting rid of the beard soon. This is gonna go soon, guys. Fair warning. I did warn you I was gonna cut my hair off, all right? I warned everybody. Yeah, but I do love my haircut. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Awesome Human says, White House silence is violence. Pray for my friends stuck there. Yeah, everyone who's out there stuck, it's terrible. Al-Qaeda says, I joined the military after high school because I was blindly patriotic and my family has served since Civil War. After 8 years, I left disillusioned. It's not the same as when your parents serve, that's for sure. Mark G says, this is a mostly peaceful takeover of Kabul. Unlike those evil people who attacked the White House. They were so evil, unlike the Taliban pedos. My goodness. Mr. Squiggle says, he wanted to extend our stay until 9/11 for political points. Now that they have basically kicked us out, he blames Trump for not pulling the troops out sooner, then says he said May 1. Who says May 1? Someone who reads a teleprompter and has no idea what they're actually saying. That's who. It's May 1st. You see May and then a 1, you say May 1st. You don't say May 1. Who says that? Dude, that dude doesn't know what he's saying. He's reading a teleprompter. That guy is a puppet. Ugh. I can't. Tristan says, we must pray for the people of Afghanistan. May the Lord bless them and set his angels over them and deliver them from this evil. That was kind of you to say, Tristan. Thank you. Robert Shaw says, China used this as propaganda with Taiwan. I agree. Jiri Vision says, I spent 2 years in the stand. Half of me says it sucked, but we have to rip the Band-Aid off eventually. Half says we should have kept Bagram to protect the Afghans in short term, counter China in the long. Look, I'm still learning about the situation. You know, like it's difficult for me to really give an opinion on the matter because the more I read about it, the more I'm like, I really need to keep reading and keep reading. So I don't know. Yeah, I think we shouldn't be there, but we shouldn't have ripped the Band-Aid off. We should have slowly taken the Band-Aid with us, or all of the equipment that we left there. JD says Biden is officially worse than George W. Bush. Fall of Saigon 2.0. He tries to deny it. The fantastic Mr. Knox, I know you got rid of the fantastic, but I don't know why. Sometimes I'll say it, sometimes I won't. Says fact that bin Laden wasn't even in Afghanistan when the U.S. sent the military there to find him. Yes, he was found in Pakistan, I think, right? Craziness. How about the WMDs, huh? Robert Shaw says, Vietnam, watch out. Australia will be fine. Our troops don't surrender. Okay, but they're going to force vaccinate all your children, though. Joe Biden's denture says, got my second order of Crigler coffee today. Woo! Gamer's Blend is even better than the Catalyst Blend. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't know if I agree with you there, all right? It's good. I prefer the Catalyst Blend myself, all right? They're different. Gamer's Blend just might be better for you. Highly recommend picking some up. Thank you so much, dentures. I appreciate that. Eric says, in the United States Marine Corps, the ANA are notorious for being incompetent and spineless. Always high and constantly stealing from us, running as soon as you take contact. The Soviets said the same thing in the 80s. Yep, I read something about them doing drugs, but I didn't really know for a fact, so I didn't really report on it. Rubbershaw says, get over the deal Trump made with the Taliban. Oh, go over the deal. I mean, that's a whole other thing. I mean, I couldn't really find... The news is so congested that it was hard for me to even find, like, a true... It sucks because I actually saw something on Twitter, and I read it, and then I kept scrolling, and then I was like, oh, man, where was that? That was, like, the perfect bullet points for what he was trying to do, which is not what Biden did. Giorgio says, on July 1st, the 500-page book, The American War in Afghanistan... The History by Carter Malkasian was published. It says it's the first authoritarian history on the subject. Or authoritative history on the subject. Oh, okay. Interesting. Rubbershaw says, only 7th month of Biden, bro. God help the USA. I know, man. Jeremiah says, why would they harm their CNN ally? They have the same ideology. I don't know if it's the exact same. Authoritarian, maybe. Rubbershaw says, given what we know, what will happen to them, I say falling from a plane is better than being caught by the Taliban savages. That's probably racist. Yeah, dismemberment, torture. It's a good point. Maybe falling and getting killed from death, from, high drop is better, preferable to torture. It's scary, yo. Eric says, 3 out of 6 loses rifles. Shut up, Camp Lejeune. Biden leaves millions of dollars of weapons and gear. This is fine. It's crazy. Reality Hijack says, looking Crig tactical, my man. Is it this haircut? Is it the haircut? Thank you very much. Thank you. Robshaw says, kind of backwards is an understatement. That's primitive. Yeah. Robert Weil says, Diana Francisco helps her mom by herself. Can we give her some love? Be blessed. Adam, she's a good friend. Thanks for everything. Yeah, that's awesome, Diana. Thank you for doing that. I'm going to eventually have build a spot on my property for my mom to come live on my property. It's just a matter of time. I know it. Love you, Mom. I can't wait, actually. She's fantastic. Robert Shaw says, let Russia take care of Afghanistan or China. I don't know, man. He continues, wouldn't be surprised if China takes Taiwan soon. I mean, they literally said, once it happens, good luck, essentially. That's frightening. It's frightening, man. Andrew says, Biden did this on purpose, probably as a distraction. I could see that happening as well. Rob Shaw says, remove Biden and then Kamala, then prove that gender means nothing because the job she will do no better than Biden jobs based on gender. No, because then if we get rid of her, then Pelosi's president, and that's also very frightening. Mal says, the Crigler show where the host simps for his fans. No lies detected. I mean, you guys, I do. You guys are fantastic. I wouldn't do this show without all of you. You are the reason I'm here. Thank you, all of you. I love you all. You guys are absolutely my favorite. Robert Shaw says, America so tolerant they elected a dementia Biden. Jerry Vision says, it sounds counterintuitive, but we actually paid the ANN too well. Enlisting in the Afghan army paid about 5 times more than a good job in the village. As soon as the first bullets fly, they run. Yeah, because they were only doing it for the money. Our tax dollars paid for that, by the way. Robert Shaw says, actually, Biden is a racist president, though. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's true. Mark G says, my pronouns are Trump and one. Okay. Manic says, I have a good idea on the reaction to why they don't believe us. And shout out to Kevin Samuels, sign language, shame, insult, guilt, need to be right. Okay. Yep. David says, anyone wearing a beanie during the summer is sketchy. Who are you talking about there? Robert Shaw says, my pronouns are election and redacted. He continues, a pandemic so bad, no time for treatment research. Oh, gosh, scary, man. Sean says, I know this would happen. Obama brought ISIS, and Biden is just another term for what we got before. Before. Only they don't need to hide it this time. Yeah, it's frightening, man. Mark G says, my coworkers equated the Taliban to the White House protesters and complained that Trump, during meeting today... Oh my gosh, are you serious? Need a new job, but my industry is woke. Oh, dude. The people that are blaming Trump for this are the brainwashed ones. And you can see it on Twitter. It's nuts, man. They're like, yeah, but Trump. It's like, you can't blame him. It's Biden straight up said, the buck stops with me. Does it then? Are you going to do something about it? Are you going to act like the president? I'm sorry I got to deal with that, Mark G. Robert Shaw says, where's the protest over the murder of the elderly? Good point. Cuomo killed. And not just Cuomo. It's Whitmer. It's Wolf. It's Murphy. Newsom. All of them, man. Even Pritzker. Graf von Tyrol says, at least Jimmy Carter is a nice enough guy and his term wasn't fully negative. Biden is just the worst in modern history. Never mind my lifetime. And I was only around since the Bush senior years. Yeah, he's the worst. You missed Trump yet? Mark G says, 1776 viewers. F the feds. Robert Shaw says, the volcanic bath is 100% germ killing. True story. I don't suggest it though. Also, life killing. Mr. Knox says, it's sad to see people I know who are slaves to the media, especially about the vaccine. Like you said, I trust my doctor, so best to talk to your doctor. Exactly. Mark Robershaw says, ring of fire after eating spicy curry. Mark G says, we need some preparation H for that ring of fire. All right, okay. Oh, you guys are funny. Oh my gosh. Gilgamesh's Warcat says, while deployed off Central America, I loved watching the volcanoes erupt with the big night vision off of Guatemala. Passed the time while looking for smugglers. Cool. That's cool. Francisco says, 4:20 Pacific time, smoke one for the peeps trying to flee Afghanistan. Another one for the 1,200 that died due to the Haitian earthquake. I heard about that earthquake. I got to look into that. Spread love for the world. I like that about you. Thank you very much. Yes, spread the love, not the hate. Robert Shaw says, the media was on orange alert for 4 years. That works on multiple levels. I like it. Sebastian says, you're dang right. I'm livid over what happened. Right now, I'm trying to return to Zen, sending love. At least I can do that. Trader Joe. Yeah. Yep. Tracy Nolan says, the Ring of Fire goes across the coast of Asia and down the west coast to the tip of South America. Lots of volcanoes in the Cascade mountain range. Interesting. Old McBiden had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and on that farm he had some redacted. E-I-E-I-O with a sniff here and a sniff there. Here a sniff, there a sniff, everywhere a sniff. I added that last little bit, but that's... that was fun. All right. Aladdin says, got your Commodore's blend for my birthday with a mug. Dope. Oh, sweet. Great coffee, and the 16-ounce mug rocks. Dude, I love my mug. It's so good. It's such a solid mug. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. Mark G says, that beard is our beard. You can't shave it off. You think you could control me? You think you control me? Huh? Yeah, right. No. Look, see this? It's starting to get itchy. Once it starts getting itchy, guys, the beard comes and goes very quickly. The hair, it doesn't come and go as quickly. Metastep says, if you shave your beard, we will stop watching. You said that about my hair also, and you're here watching me, Metastep. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Mr. Knox says, had to get rid of the fantastic part because I felt it was too long unless you like the fantastic part. Well, I mean, you will forever be the fantastic Mr. Knox, so you don't have to have it anymore because I know who you are and you're fantastic. You know what I'm saying? You know? So, the farm engineer, hey! Just saying what's up. Today was nuts, but at least we have our own land and we can walk around and clear our head. Stay sane, everyone. Hey, farm engineer, loved you on the show. That was a lot of fun having you on last week. You definitely should come back on again. Oh, Karlin Borisenko is in chat. Speaking of people on my show, Karlin, I miss you on my show. Please come and join me again. We need to bring you back. I miss you. I only have one strike. The other one ends in a couple weeks. Let's get you back on. I wasn't having, the reason I mentioned the strikes because I wasn't having guests on. But let's bring Karlin back. I mean, I miss Karlin. Thanks for tuning in. What's up, Karlin? How you doing? Anyway, I just saw her randomly in chat. All right, where was I? The Schno says, I crapped on you for cutting your hair. I also have long hair. I was a no-guard person for a while, so I get it. You do you, you crazy diamond. Hey, man, everyone can do what they want. That's okay. But listen, I do me. I think you know that about me by now. I do me, all right? I don't cater. I don't follow. I do what I think is best for myself. And that's what most people should do. And stop being sheep. Ugh, there's so many dang sheep on this planet. New Zealand, it's like there's more sheep. There's like 8-1 sheep or something. It's crazy. Jason Dixon says, need a P.O. box. Send stuff to send you. A 100-sided die. Dope. Thank you. Coming soon. Redacted says, beanies hide his baldness. Facts. He's not wrong, guys. He's not wrong. Gone Fall says that Biden admin speaking to the press said, we understand, we know how you feel. The acting is so bad, the sociopath is showing. We know they don't understand. They don't understand. Swear word. Well, I don't know if it is or not, but I try to avoid them if I can. Chad says, I've been sharing my Crigler coffee Ethiopian blend with my coworkers, trying to convert them from Folgers, and it's Folgers, and it's working. Thank you, Chad. Thank you so much. Yeah, I love my coffee. Thank you guys, all of you, anyone out there who's ordered my coffee, thank you so much. I love having coffee for me. I really did it for myself because I love coffee. And I'm sick of bad coffee. There's nothing worse than going out and like getting a bag of coffee and making the coffee and having it be terrible and then just drink terrible coffee through the whole thing because you bought it. You don't want to waste money, you know. Now you know that you're getting beans that are roasted on order and they're fresh and delicious. So thank you for that. I really do appreciate that. Robert Shaw says, nothing like a bath of hot magma to clean the skin or melt it away. Mark G says, Haitian earthquake? Oh no, where's Hillary? David says, I went to Haiti during the first earthquake and led a strike team into the jungles looking for people to help. Imagine trying to save a kid surrounded by people with machetes. Wow, that sounds like a story right there. Mark G says, the Marxists demand the beard stay. Well, the Marxists, not the Marxists. Yeah, well, I don't even think this is a beard. I feel like a beard, you gotta you can grip. I mean, I can grip a little bit, but not really. You know what I'm saying? Robert Shaw says, fun fact, Joe Biden was awake the whole time. I don't know if I believe that. Robert Shaw says, not gonna lie, Karlin is pretty, I could say sexy, but Adam is, man meat. Thank you. Gon says the long hair is said to connect the energy surrounding the universe and connects you to nature as well. By the way, the UFOs are man-made. Ooh, now that's an interesting point of view. All right, well, I just spammed the UFO. If you are a member in chat, you can absolutely spam the UFO right there. Metastep says, I'm going to get some of your coffee. Just got to buy a new coffee maker. Any suggestions? Also, everyone bless Robert Wiles. Right on. I love that. I love it. I mean, personally, I do the Catalyst blend, although I have been switching to the Commodore's Reserve because proceeds of that support veterans in America. I really love supporting 22 Until None, so it's really great. So I would say Commodore's Reserve just because it's just got such a good flavor. It's a little bolder than the... If you like the Catalyst blend, you'll like the Commodore's Reserve. It's just got a little bit bolder. It's a little darker of a roast. Let's see. Mr. Knox says, I agree the beard gets itchy, especially when wearing a mask. I have to always shave mine off. I don't wear a mask anymore. I haven't worn a mask in 2 months. It's been fantastic. Robert Shaw says, no homo, F Blizzos. All right, guys, that was my show. Thank you all for tuning in. I really do appreciate each and every single one of you for hanging out with me. If you haven't shared my videos, please do share. It really helps my channel grow. And also smash that like button and hit that little notification bell so you know when I go live. Some people don't get the notifications, but I do go live 6:30 Eastern time here on The Crigler Show, and I will be back tomorrow. Good night, everybody.